Ladies and gentlemen, what an honor it is to be sitting. There can't be a more beautiful place on the planet tonight here on beautiful Kentucky Lake, Benton County, with my old pal, the old pro, Camden, Benton County's own John Lashlee. John, what an honor.
You know, I really appreciate you saying that. And the way you started your interview here just makes me, I don't know, I'm so proud to be alive and looking out over Cypress Creek, where we are right now. And I came down from Memphis to join the duck blind drawing today, which is a ritual with myself and my grandsons and my sons. And Flash, it's been a ritual with you, if you remember. And I don't mind telling people that I'm just glad to be here.
Health problems. We've been concerned about you for several months now. Give us an update. How are you getting along, my friend?
Okay. This is the wonderful news. Cancer can be beaten. Last year in September, I was diagnosed with a form of lung cancer, and they caught it supposedly in time, and 6 sessions of chemotherapy and 26 sessions of radiation, and by jingoes, here I am.
Let me ask you this, John. When that news is given to you by the physician and the medical professionals, shocking, tragic, but how do you go on? How do you go on, to go on and get to where you are today?
Well, I know a lot of people have probably faced what I have and what I had, and it's an amazing feeling when someone tells you that, John, you had 3 weeks to live. 3 weeks, not 3 months, 3 years, or whatever. But then I was rushed to the emergency room of the Veterans Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm talking about the most wonderful people that I've ever seen, great doctors. They went to work and caught this cancer just in time to say, hey, we're going to kill you. Well, when they told me, said, John, we're going to have to fight this, you're going to have to fight it, I thought, well, if all the people out there don't give up. If you remember Jimmy Valvano, he said, don't give up. Never give up. Well, I never did. And today, after I was diagnosed back in September and told I had possibly 3 weeks to live, I'm here. I feel good. I've got the most wonderful people in Camden, Tennessee that just opened their hearts to me today. I didn't realize there was that many people that cared, but they did. And, of course, Camden is one of my most favorite places on planet Earth. It's got so much, and it's got so much to offer to other people throughout the country. Ironically, I was talking with my cousin, Emery Florence, and was talking with Paul Melton and others about what a great, wonderful place. Why do we want to get it out to other people? Well, why don't we get it out to other people? This area has more to offer than any place I've ever seen in my life. And Flash, you know that.
51 years ago, radio station WFWL 1220 radio went on the air. We had a great interview about that last year. But as you think back now on our 51st anniversary, again, what memories come to your mind, my friend?
Oh, the first memory that immediately comes to my mind is the fact that I was the one that opened that switch and said, this is the magic voice of the Magic Valley, WFWL. And from that point on, we started a wonderful little radio station across from the Ford Motor Company in a little bitty place that a lot of folks would never think you would start a radio station. And I can tell you this, and I don't think it's any secret now, at least it shouldn't be. If it is, I'm going to tell them. WFWL was put on the air for $15,000. Now, you think of a fine radio station like WFWL, and John Lashlee and the other people involved with it got together, got the money, opened it up, and here 51 years later, we have WFWL, and now we did not have the FM station at that time. And we were hunting and pecking for things to produce. And I'll never forget the type radio records that we had that would come in there. And I would look at these records and say, well, I'm not sure this one's going to go over, but we would play it. And we had news, and we did news and records, and the people just took to that station. And to this day, I understand they are really on WFWL.
Farm reports. When I came along, Walter Moore of the Extension Service was doing live farm reports. We had the Trading Post. We still have that program. Fishing reports with folks like Bob Keast from Birdsong. His dad, I remember that. But I want to ask you, 1963, March of 63, you'd already moved on, but the plane crash, Patsy Cline, Hawkshaw Hawkins, Cowboy Copus, Randy Hughes, where were you when you heard that news, and what was your feeling then, John?
Oh, my God, I'll never forget that. I was with WLAC in Nashville, Tennessee. I had gone from WFWL to WTPR in Paris, and to the television station in Jackson. And from there, I went to WLAC in Nashville. And when I heard that, you know, I was on the air when that came over the Associated Press. And it was brought to me. You remember how we used to do in the old days? They would bring us a news story, and we would say, here is a news flash. And I had a record playing, and I saw this, and it made me sick at my stomach, first thing. Instead of crying, I became sick. And when I saw these wonderful people that I knew personally, by the way, when I saw what had happened, I didn't know what to say. I opened the microphone, and I read the Associated Press story. I shut the microphone off, and someone rushed in there and took over for me because I couldn't go any further. And that was the same way with any of the people we loved to death in Nashville at that time. We were so close to them. If we had a death, it was like a death in our family. And it's the same way it is here in Camden. If anything happens to anyone here, we know them, and it's so pitiful when it does happen. And I know you've had the same thing happen to you, Flash. You don't know what to say. I mean, what do you say? No. So that's something.
So many memories. One thing stands out, and refresh me on this, going back 40 plus years, and we talked about Chris Clark, who just recently retired, Bob Bertini, you on the sports desk. I think it was a World Series, and I can't remember the teams that were playing, but you said if the particular team didn't win the World Series, you'd eat crow on the set. And did not Bob bring you actual crow? Tell me about that.
Oh, this is something now. Now, this is something I've never forgotten as long as I've ever lived. I was the number one sports broadcaster in Nashville, according to all the surveys, and I'd just been selected the Southeastern Conference Sportscaster of the Year. So I thought I was a big shot. You know, I really did. And the Baltimore Colts were playing the New York Jets. Well, the New York Jets had a wonderful quarterback named Joe Namath, who had played for Alabama, and of course we'd kept up with Joe for a long time. And Joe had made this statement that the New York Jets are going to win the Super Bowl over the Baltimore Colts. Well, let me tell you something. Baltimore had one of the finest football teams that's ever been put on the field. So I thought, well, this is a good chance for me to get in on this. So I wrote a story saying this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, is for Joe Namath to even think that the New York Jets could hang with the Baltimore Colts. And Baltimore was going to really show them what it was all about, what pro football was all about, what the Pro Bowl was all about, what the Super Bowl was all about. And I just went on, you know. And then the New York Jets beat the fine, great Baltimore Colts. And I didn't know what to say. We got two of these huge toe sacks full of mail. And the first one I read said, well, I guess that we'll all have to realize from now on, John, that you can make mistakes, and that it's something that you don't ever want to do again. Well, I thought about this, and I thought, well, my job wasn't to get up there and make this ridiculous come from behind thing like Joe Namath had done one way, I did the other. Bob Bertini, never forget as long as I live, the very next day I was doing the sports, trying to forget this idiotic statement and this story I had written that the Baltimore Colts were going to destroy the New York Jets. Of course, the folks not realizing the Jets won the ball game, so let me remind them of that. And he brought me live on the set a stuffed crow. And Bertini and I were real close anyway. But he looked at me and he turned around to the camera and he said, John, you got a lot of eating to do right here. You're going to eat crow for a long, long time. And believe me, people have never forgotten that. I mean, to this day, I still have folks that remind me of that. Say, John, are you still eating crow over that ball game?
Well, you have a lot to be proud of in your life. Sam, the great fishing tournaments he's won. Grandson coming to help us out with football on the University of Tennessee. What a great. We're looking forward to getting Austin up there.
Well, Austin Johnson is probably, of course, he's in my heart. He's my grandson. He was one of the first to commit to the University of Tennessee for the 08 class, which this is the class that will be coming up after this senior season. He's one of the finest young football players that's come into North Carolina, and he was the only junior that made the North Carolina All-State team. The rest of them were seniors, and he's coming and is committed to the University of Tennessee. And I said, good Lord, when I found out about this cancer, I said, please, Lord, let me see my grandson run through that tee.
John, as an avid outdoorsman, hunter, fisherman, of course, and we'll close the interview very, very soon, what can we do to ensure that generations that come after us can enjoy the activities along Kentucky Lake, can enjoy our woods, to do things, to come to duck blind drawings and enjoy it? What can we do to ensure generations after us can enjoy hunting and fishing?
Well, one thing we can do is get them off of these unbelievable programs that you're seeing on television now, that, in my opinion, is warping the minds of many of the young people. I hate it. I see things on TV today, and I've made a good living on television, but I am so disappointed now that TV has turned to this. I want the dads and the moms to get their youngsters together now and sit them down in the living room and say, hey, we need to talk these things over. Let's get back to the outdoors. I want the dads to start working with these young boys and young girls. Let's not forget that the young girls are coming up strong too. And make something of them other than kids that have something hanging out their ear and listening to this god-awful rap all day long, and get them into the out of doors like we are right here. I had both of my sons, Sam and Bart, in a duck blind with me when they were 5 years old. And fishing, I always took them because it was such a pleasure to have them as my buddies, you know. So many of the dads aren't making their children buddies. And that's what we're going to have to do now. We're going to have to do that. And it's going to have to be soon, or we're going to have a generation of kids that are mechanically operated.
In our final seconds today, John, with this interview, thank you for your time. I'm very honored. A message to your good friends here in Camden, Benton County, surrounding area.
I just love everybody here. Flash, I like you so much. We've been so close together. We have family together. WFWL, I'll never forget it. I started my career in broadcasting, and I just want to say God bless everybody that's within the earshot of my voice right now.
My pal, if Ron, myself, the radio station, we can ever be of service to you, your fine family, you know where we are. God bless you, my friend. Been a pleasure. Been an honor.
Thank you, sir.